I think one of the conflicts that comes up, when the satanic altar went up there and all that kind of stuff was going on, I am far less afraid of the obvious than I am the undertow. And what I mean is, it's also satanic to live in debt. It is not godly to let debt rule. And this United States of America, if I can go on, I've never said this before. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say the federal government is satanic in nature because debt is worth living for. And I've heard Republicans say, to quote, debt must be had so that we can defend outside of the borders of this country. I'm simply going to disagree with any Republican says that. I don't find it in the Constitution. Constitutionally, I understand that we can incur debt for the sake of defending the rights of its people. But when the government itself clearly steps over those rights, and I understand, and Romans 13, and not that we were even you brought it up, and I was going to bring it to the attention because I think it's important, probably one of the toughest things for any of us as believers to wade into Romans 13 and go, you know what? If Romans 13 is acted out by citizens every day for too long, or we believe that our job is to submit to the authorities, or is it to authority? Because I also understand a rebellious heart simply goes, nope, no authority. But the question is when authorities overstep. Project Warp Speed, drugs never tested for people, unlawful, illegal. Here's the shot. Is it required to give a piece of paper that says, I understand what's in this? Nobody said, nobody enforced it. And so you hear all the news, you see all this, and yet the federal government from the last year of Trump on into the Biden administration is saying, oh yeah, but nobody's saying, by the way, this is unconstitutional. By the way, we're breaking the law. By the way, this is satanic in nature, no matter who's in power, to come to the people and say, you must. And that's when the government begins to flip over. And I think we have crossed a line for a long time, if I look back at it some, and I'm a little more concerned in that. So if I could pose this question, and I want you to speak freely on this, if the federal government, regardless of who's in power, let's say 2 years from now, you're elected, maybe I shouldn't do hypotheticals. I'm Trump's president, Lord willing. I mean, I like what the Lord's doing in it, and I don't like some of it, and I like a lot of what I see happening. I'm glad for that. I think God's being very kind and merciful to us as a nation right now, considering the satanic nature of the lust for power that is a spirit that has not been laid down. I haven't seen it. And the federal government decides, nope, the states must do this. In general, what do you believe your recourse would be or response as governor of this state in its sovereignness?
Well, it's hard to say in a hypothetical situation.
That's fair.
But I can tell you the general principle that I believe in is that the federal government has its lane and states have their lane. That's why I believe in constitutional state sovereignty. There's something called the enumerated powers, Article 1, Section 8. It's about 17 or 18 issues, and that those define the areas where federal government is supposed to work, and that's their lane. They're supposed to stay there. And then the 10th Amendment then tells us that everything else belongs to the states.
Right.
And so that's the way it should work. Now, that hasn't been obeyed, and because of dependency upon funds and different things, we're kind of trapped into federal dependency to more than we should be. And so it's not like something you can just flip a switch and fix overnight, but you can start working your way to get free from that, and start finding ways to make Iowa stand on its own 2 feet instead of depending on federal funds for something. That would be the method of getting free from unconstitutional powers.
Right.
And so it goes back to the whole debt issue. If we're indebted to the federal government, then they're going to have some control over us.
Right.
So some control. So there's these issues that are out there, federal issues versus state issues, and we need to define what they are. And that's going to take some education.